I'm out here this summer to fish a lot too. I like to have fun when I fish. We'll get more into that, but I love having fun. This is outfit I wore about 13 years ago. How many of you guys know short bus flashes? I knew JT when he was working out at the garage. I met him at the boat ramp for the first time. He saw me wear this suit and he said, "What the heck are you? Are you the bait for today?" And I said, "No." So 5 days later, he sent me that flasher right there. That's the Deja Vu. So that was named after me. It's a long story behind it. We used to make these out of his garage back in the days, JT. And this is my first fishing experience that I remember running an 800 with my family. And we didn't catch any fish that day. We caught a lot of fry bass, but don't forget, I always like to have fun when I'm fishing, even though we didn't catch anything that day. Some of you may have seen me on Grant McGovey's Grant's Getaways. He featured me about 2 years ago. And he's the one who kind of springboarded me into doing presentations and stuff. He's a great man. He lives out close to me, but he's at that age when he can't go down for fish. He wanted to come tonight, but he just couldn't make it. But I wanted to tell you guys all hello. He's the man who got me really to do presentations because I enjoy doing it a lot, right? So, fishing. I was an engineer for 8-9 years, and I told my dad I don't want to do that more. I want to try to school bus so I can fish. And my dad always worked hard and has 5 kids. And when he found out I wanted to be a fisherman or fish a lot, he always told me, he goes, "You're slow, your eyes are not always open," and he always says, "And here I am. This picture, my buddy posted up, I'm always in the trees." So he always lies when he sees this picture right here. My dad always tells me when I'm out fishing, he always tells me, "Don't stop." That's what he always says. But I love fishing, all right? So, this is kind of what I'm going to talk about today. Why do you fish techniques? We'll go through this real quick, but we're going to get to reading water. And my presentation is going to be very interactive, so you guys are going to be involved tonight, right? So I'm up here because I've fished for almost 25 years. And I love it, and I've learned by taking logs and consulting information. When I first started out in the Southern River system, I wasn't afraid to ask the old timers what they did. How many of you guys are old fishing? That's how I first learned fishing back then. Okay. So why do you fish? All right. When I look at this quote here, look at nature, then you understand everything better. I want you guys to yell out. Why do you fish? Why do some of you guys fish? What draws you to fishing? It's relaxing. What else?
It's hard.
What's that?
It's hard.
Yeah. What else? The tug is the drug, right? I heard somebody say that last time. The tug is the drug, right? What other reasons do you guys fish? Yep, gotta do something about them, right? 6 grandkids, right? I like to fish because I love the scenery. Right? What's that?
Food.
For the food, yeah. How many of you guys like to eat fish? Fish because you like to eat it. All right, little fact on me. I do not eat fish or seafood. I hate fish or seafood, but I love fish. Are you the same way?
I'm allergic.
Yeah, I'm not allergic, I just don't like it. I grew up on Gordon's fish sticks when I was younger. So I think that would be okay. But fish because we love to do it. How many of you guys like to fish with friends? Right? I like to fish with friends. I'll tell you why I like to fish with friends. When I take them fishing, I always have them fish deeper. That way I know how deep the hole is and they lose gear and I don't. So I go fishing, right? So that's why I like to take with friends. So I always have them fish deeper. And I'll tell you why that's important a little bit later. A lot of the fishes we enjoy, right? The tongue is the drug, the nature, the scenery. I always tell people, you gotta fish, have fun. Right? How many of you guys have been on the river and you see grumpy people? Right? Especially right now, the fishing is slow, right? We're still at fishing. It's tough fishing right now for some of them. And you see some of their faces, and I'm like, you're not fishing, you're not at work, have fun. Right? So remember, have fun when you're fishing. This is my daughter, her fishing, she's so fun. Right? Turning these to life, I've done other things, right? You see it in, I work with kids 14 years, and you see them both on different things. Take them out fishing, get them outside, because what are most kids doing? Yeah, video games. Get them outside, get them fishing. All right, we're going to go over some techniques just real quick. How many of you guys are old school drift fishermen? Still do it nowadays? Short fish. I'm going to pick on some of you guys and some of these slides, right? How many of you guys are now used to the float fishing? Right? Yeah, it's getting very popular, isn't it? Very popular. When I walked at the banks last week and in the drift boat, I see about 80% of the guys carrying float rods like myself. Okay? How about casting hardware? How many of you guys like to cast hardware still? You don't see that a lot more, do you? Or, yeah, I'm giving my you guys too, as far as casting hardware. All right, flow fishing. What are some really good things to put under a flow when you guys fish? Jigs. How many of you guys like to fish jigs under a flow? Right? Very effective. Why do you like flow fishing? Somebody tell me why you like flow fishing.
No.
What's that? You don't get snagged. You're fishing more often when flow fishing, correct? Because you're not using gear like traditional drift fishing. What's the new technique everybody loves to do under a float? The beam, right? Beam is getting very popular. How do you guys like to beam fish? Hard to learn, right? I'm still trying to master it after 2 years. We'll talk about that. But when you're time to use beam fishing. All right, how about drift fishing? I'm a drift fisherman. Who does 48 yarn still? Yes, what's your favorite color for 48 yarn? Think it might be sandy because it's so silky, right? What's your favorite 48 yarn? Pink? Pink, yeah, good. What do you guys like to use in your drift fishing? Eggs? Some of you guys still fish eggs. Not that many people fish eggs. Just put scent. There's a couple egg fishing back there. Good. How many of you guys like to put scent on your yarn? That's very effective. Good. What about casting hardware? This is a lost art. How many of you guys still like to cast spoons? Spoon fishing. Good. I remember when I first started fishing down Sandy, there used to be a tackle shop that owned by Rob and Brandy, I think. Back in the days right over here. He taught me how to do spoon fishing and cast spinners back in the days. I don't think he's still around.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, it's me. Oh, he is. Yeah. His shop was right here, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's long and great.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. So yeah, hardware. That's the thing we have to talk about when the right time to throw hardware and get like some of these guys. Okay. All right. One of my presentations I did last year was your effective steelhead, which will do this. Like I said, I like to go fishing between my routes. When I go fishing, I usually have 2 hours to fish. I do my work at 9:30. I'm on the river by 10. I have to leave the river by 12:15. I get back and take my afternoon kids. Unless I get stuck behind a little truck on the way back. All right. I got 2 hours of fishing. I'm learning to be effective when I have my 2 hours of fishing between routes today. You're going to learn a couple things. Cover water, cast and blast. What does that mean? What does cast and blast mean? That means you fish a hole for 15, 20 minutes and then go move on. Don't sit for an hour or two in the hole. I got a lot of friends who like to play what I call zone defense. They just sit in one spot for 2 hours. Right? It's not very effective. Cast and blast. You're going to cover a lot more water. You have a lot better chances for fish if you're moving around. What happens? Like right now, the north coast where I fish, Tillamook system, there's lots of fishermen out there, right? So the water is getting pounded. So the fish are constantly getting pushed around. So you're going to learn, don't fish with traditional water. These fish are getting pushed around in different spots. So cast and blast covers a lot of water. And you're going to be a lot more effective than just sitting in a couple spots for a long time, right? You can see what else. Yeah, start shallow to deep. How many of you guys can fish a hole if you're bottom fishing? Start shallow to deep. Why don't you start shallow to deep? What's the reason for that? So you don't spook them? Yep, some fish can be suspended, right? Fish usually look up. So you want to start up, you don't want to start deep and scare them, right? That's where your friend comes into play. You have them looking, so you know how deep the hole is, right? Just remember that there, okay? Don't be the camper, the guy that just sits in the hole. We'll talk about that, okay? And see, before you leave a hole, did I cover the hole effectively? Did I put out there what I wanted? Did I toss my jig? Did I like what I did there? Did I put a spinner through there? How do you guys like to throw a spinner before they leave, right? If they're afraid of scaring some of the fish off and using spinner hooks. How do you guys use more than one method when you're in a hole? Right? What method do you like to use? You're a fish? Nice. But with the slide thing. How many of you guys have done that? That's a great bite. And then in your hand, you get a bit on the plug. Great. What about you back? You get your hand up. What 2 techniques do you like to use in this boat?
I like the bobber dog.
Bobber dogs.
Float
Eggs and beans. Excellent. Right? So always make sure you don't let them cover the hole long enough for you to move on and eat, right? And the next thing they do is fishing outside the box, right? Go off the beaten path. The Sandy is a pretty popular river everywhere, just like the local river where I like to fish. I always try to fish off the beaten path, right? A lot of the holes when I drive down, I see people park there all the time. Those holes get pounded all day long. So I'll try to find different spots. Don't be afraid to park somewhere or walk away from all the popular spots. Because I know the Sandy has a couple of really popular spots. The Clackamas has a really popular spot. I grew up, when I learned how to fish the Sandy, I was fishing python holes. So I first fished the Sandy was on the python hole. There was always people there when I went here to fish. What's the other one? My friend used to fish Dodge Park. Very busy spots, right? He's learned over the years to fish outside the box, go somewhere else. There's less people. All right, again, this picture up here was me going down that morning in my car to go fishing on my lunch break. This guy was still there, and when I left, he was still there. Peter and I already caught 2 fish in that 2 hours. Right? Either that fishing hole was really, really good and he was catching a lot of fish, or he was just sitting there playing zone, or it could be just a guy just sleeping in his car. I'm pretty sure it was a fish hole we saw in Northwest Steelheaders. Okay, so make sure you move around. Don't sit in one spot. Okay, you can get a lot more effective if you're moving, looking for fish instead of playing zone. I always say, don't be a Gary. Okay, if you're Gary, you're name's Gary, I apologize right now. Okay, so move around and look for the fish. Okay. All right, we're gonna get to read water. Learn to read water. Master, you'll be in the 10% club if you learn to read water. Okay, this was told to you by a wide name. Told that 90% of all the fishing, 90% of the fish are in 10% of the water. How many of you guys agree with that? You heard that before? I've heard that many times when I first started fishing, right? They call steelhead fishing the fish of 1,000 casts. How many of you guys have heard that? It probably took me 10,000 casts to catch my first one when I first started. It was not easy when I first started. Right? Very tough fishing. All right, reading water, understanding when to fish, the basics. Rule number 1, fish club. Check what the spouse of fishing. That's the first rule of fishing. Check the spouse, right? When do rivers fish best? When's the best time to go fishing? On the drop, right? Excellent, on the drop. How many of you guys like fishing when it's low water? That's my favorite. Why do you like to fish when it's low water? Somebody tell me why you like it. Less fishermen on the water. That's my number 1. A lot less fishermen when it's low water, right? And the fish tend to start kegging up in a lot of holes. If you know where to find them, you're going to get a lot of fish. If you know where fish are keg up on the river. So when the river's low, like summertime, I tell my friends, summertime, look at the structure. Look to see what the river looks like when it's low, so you understand where they're going to hold when it gets to the winter storage time of fish. Okay. What level is your river optimal level? Depends on the river and how you like to fish, right? So certain types of level is going to be better than certain methods. Okay, so just have to keep that in mind. It's your comfort level. For drift fishing, I like drift fishing when the water's on the higher side. How many of you guys like to drift fish when the water's a little bit higher? Right? Why do you like to drift fish when the water's higher?
Again, I think it's I manage to stay out of stuff better, I guess, you know? It seems like when the water's lower, I'm always losing things.
Yeah, it's not drifting as well, but drift fishing slows down your presentation, right? It gives the fish more time to see your presentation when the river's moving fast. So it can be very effective. Slow fishing is not as effective when the water's moving very fast, right? Because they don't have time and your water's probably not sitting straight up like you like it. Okay? Who likes high water fishing? There's guys out there who like high water fishing. I know. To me, it's a waste of time. There are guys who like to fish high water. If you're going to fish high water, what type of water are you looking for? Slow. Back eddies. We'll get into that in a bit, okay? Prime water, we all know that. When it's prime water, everyone in this room will be out of the river fishing. Right? Low water, probably less people out there. Okay, this is my breakdown. River level determines my 3 water categories. A moving day. When the water's high, I call it moving day. I don't like to fish when the water's high. How many of you guys know how to look on graphs to see what your rivers are doing? You can look it online, right? So when the water's high, I call it moving day. It's a little tough to fish, but it is very efficient. Okay, you're going to learn what holes work the best. Okay, resting holding days. When the water's high and the water's perfect. That's when they're going to start holding up and resting, I call it. We're going to watch videos. I'm going to show you videos of holes of the different types of water we're going to look at.
Vu,
when they move. Yes, sir.
can you give us an example? What's high on the Sandy for you?
I don't fish the Sandy enough, so I'm going to ask you guys. Like for me, for the Wilson River, where I like to fish on the North Coast, for the Wilson, anything above 6 6'5" is high for me on the Wilson. I don't know what it is on the Sandy.
What Stoger would tell you, 9.5 feet, 10 feet. How far? Anything over 10.
Anything over 10 in the Sandy, we're going to call it high water. What's the prime number for the Sandy or Platinum for you guys on the Sandy? 9. Okay, so 9 is that low. Yeah. Got it. What's low? What's this low in the Sandy? Well, depends on what kind of boat you have. I mean, low would be 8 feet. 8 feet. Okay. Is there a lot of bank access on the Sandy? Not as much as the Wilson or the Road Coaster. Tons of access. Oh, the red. Okay, good. Yeah. So those are high water, low water, and your prime water spots, right? So you're gonna learn that. Anything over 10 is high and Sandy. 9 is perfect. 8 or lower is pretty low. Yeah, on the lower side. And watch the water temperature. Yeah, water temperature too, and CFS, right? You're looking at CFS, how fast that water is flowing, okay?
Is that a bull run?
Where's the gauge? The gauge is at, basically, full run.
Yeah.
Up top. Okay, so that's where your gauge is. On the Wilson, the gauge is on the low. Okay, once you determine what category of water is, it helps determine where to fish and what type of water you want to fish. I always tell people, fish what you're comfortable with. When friends go, I always tell them, fish what you're comfortable with. What technique do you like the best? Most of my friends like float fishing, so I'm going to tell them, look for water that's the walking speed, right? For float fishing, you want a walking speed. Yes, sir?
You talk about water level and bird fish, you heard before, high water fish, high water.
Yep, that's a great adage right there, right? High water, fish high, low water, fish low. That's what we do on the Wilson. Because the Wilson's like the Sandy. It starts up high and it flows pretty fast down. When you get down, high water it slows down. Yeah. Yeah, because you guys here get a lot of snow melt, right? So the Sandy's always off color, isn't it, most of the time? And I would say most of the time, but it's very silky, right? It's more of like a wintry green. Most of the time.
Steelhead green today.
Yeah. All right, green water, look at the whole picture. Okay, what's the river do below and above? A lot of my friends, when I first start fishing, I go to the hole and I just start fishing it. I don't look at the whole picture. Look at above the hole where you want to fish and below. It's going to help you determine where they're going to hold. Look at that whole entire stretch of river. I'll show you some pictures, right? So then like cover water. What's cover water? Broken up water? Broken surface, good. What else is cover water? Shaded, excellent. That's what you may be looking for. Right? They don't like to be exposed. Okay, go for structure. Obviously, what's structure? Trees, anything in the river, right? I love when trees are falling in the river, a lot of boulders. That's why I was telling my friends, look during the summer with some of those huge boulders are. There's fish will hide behind it. You get to higher flow when the water's fine. Okay. Steelhead like oxygenated water. What's that water? The white water, right? And they had the whole, a lot of people skip that type of water. Oxygenated water is where the water's coming through with white water. On like low, clear days, I like to look for oxygenated water. You'll see some videos what I mean by that, okay? But I agree, oxygen for life blood. Yes, sir. Sunny versus cloudy, excellent. That's going to change what you use sometimes, right? So on sunny days, what you looking for? Shaded water, right? Broken water. That's what you guys. You're looking for shaded water, broken water on sunny days, right? Overcast days, you're probably not that scared. You're going to be a little bit more willing to bite. So you don't have to focus hard to find new fish on sunny days, okay? So then like soft seas. What's a soft sea? Where the little bit, the water not as hard, right? So you're looking for, how many of you guys know how to look for a soft sea? We're going to watch a video that's going to show that, okay, what I mean by soft sea. Right? High water, okay, we talked about here about high water. What colors are effective for high water fishing? Like the fish in the water's high and off color. Pinks, right? Bright colors, whites, pinks are very popular, right? What's that? Black, okay, it's sunny, so it's more like a silhouette for black. Okay, for high water. Okay, what techniques we talked about for high water is drift fishing is very effective. Boat fishing is going to be hard for high water, right? Because it's going to be moving a little fast. How about tossing spoons? How many of you guys are tossing spoons when it's high water? Spares? One. Plunking, yeah, I was waiting to hear that, right? Plunking is very effective for high water. This is a very popular plunking spot out of Melbourne. There's not a lot of big fish around here. People plunk in the same, I think they do out here.
Yeah, they do.
At high water, you have to see that. Very effective. Some techniques that are very, okay. So again, high water, soft steam, choke points, resting water, jack lane, structure, transition water, and you're gonna see some videos and all this stuff, okay? High water, okay? So high water, you're looking for the sea or the tail out. This is kind of fast flowing. This is one of my favorite rivers to fish, okay? You got high water, where are you gonna find fish in this? Next to the bank. Next to the bank? Excellent. You see that right there, that nice soft water right there? That's what you're looking for. The water's flowing this way, it's flowing back. You're looking for that soft sea, that tail out right down here, right where okay, high water. This water's flowing. You're looking for the back end. Right, this is where you're gonna rest. You can see some video of me catching fish in the back end. Okay, that's what you're looking for. A lot of people will skip this type of water. What is this type of water that might be fishing for? Salmon, right? Some of my steelhead fishermen will skip that when I take them out fishing. They won't fish this stuff. If they see it at the deep, fast boiling water, they don't think steelhead will hold. You can see some videos of that steelhead. Obviously here you're looking for structure, right? You got structure here, and you got a choke point. It's ready by choke point. The fish can't really go anywhere from this spot, right? So they're going to be somewhere down below here. So you're looking for things. You're looking at the whole picture when you go pick a whole fish. Look at the whole picture. Bust and low. Okay. So low water. We'll fish in low water. Look for low water. The white water. We talked about that. Looking for deeper, darker water. They're going to hold up, right? Shaded water. We mentioned that. You look for structure in the water, like boulders and stuff down in the water. Okay. What's effective for low water fishing? I know a lot of you guys have low water fish. What's a really popular jig everyone uses for low water? Nightmare factor, right? Deadly. That's my go-to when it's low water. What else is effective at low water?
Small presentation.
Small presentation, right? Downsizing your gear, downsizing your egg. So when I say you're lining here, you're going power to fluorocarbon. After you guys switch to fluorocarbon, it's low clear. We'll go to 8-pound mono. I don't really use fluorocarbon. I like to go with a lighter mono in my opinion. Okay. So again, this is kind of looking for there. I think float fishing is probably more effective at low water than drift fishing. Somebody here mentioned at low water, it is hard to drift. You're not getting that balance. You get hung up. So float fishing is going to be a little more effective. Tossing spinners, don't overlook that. When the water's low. Sometimes the steelhead like to chase, right? That spinner will get them a bite in that situation, right? Low water, looking for broken water. Looking for stuff like that. See the white water there? You're looking for stuff like that right there. You're looking for structure. You see all the structure in this section of the river? You got rocks and boulders the fish like to hide behind, right? And you got deeper water. It's a really deep hole. We still have like holes again. A lot of people skip this a lot sometimes. And look in there. All right, transition water is the toughest, I think, for a lot of people to read and fish. A lot of people skip transition water. How many of you guys like transition water? Know how to fish it? Some of you guys here know how to fish transition water. Okay, it's the water between holes where fish are trapped, right? So like that, what I call high water, or like the water's prime, fish are constantly moving. Right? So you're looking for transition water. Right? Called traditional steelhead water. A lot of fish like to travel through there. It's like a highway fish, what I call it. So they like holes and just travel through it. Sometimes they rest in that. A lot of times it's broken up water. We don't see a video of us catching fish in transition water. Okay, so this type of water is overlooked a lot. What's a really effective method for transition water? I think hardware is very effective. Like spinners, spoons, very effective. Drip fishing is very effective in transition water because it's usually got speed to it. So you're drifting action very effectively in that situation. Sometimes transition water is a little fast for float fishing. If you're float fishing, what do you want your float to do? Be straight up, right? So let's look at some more natural. It's sitting up, right? When your float's doing this, how do you guys know what that means? It's going down the river, it's going like this. What does that mean? Too deep, right? You're dragging. Right? You see your float bounces. So you want your bobber to be straight up like some of the floats back there. Transition water, like this right here, structure. You see soft sea on this side. And you're going to see some videos of fish in this type of water. All right, we're play that little game, but actually bodies help me when we do this, okay? So reading water. How and where would you fish this spot? Who wants to be my first volunteer? How would you fish this spot? And go through video too. How would you fish this spot? Want to volunteer?
I would probably cast high
Show me where you need cast.
but probably cast high in the air, but it's like you're probably down.
Perfect. Why would you fish that fast water first? Looks fishy. Looks good. All right, I like that answer. Looks good. Okay. Excellent. Okay, so this is the section above this hole. You see all this right here? So it's what I call choke point. They're not going to go anywhere, right? Look below here. What do you guys see here? Very low and clear, isn't it? Right? So you I would fish right here where the fish is going to hold. This was a sunny day. You can see all the structure down here. And like I said, up here, they're not going to hold up here in this couple inches of water, right? It's a choke point. They're going to hold up right here where you mentioned fish. You can see my bottom right there. It's really hard to see from the plane. Right there. There was some fish right there, right where he said, good job. Give that man a hand right there. Exactly what I want.
Oh, nice. Look at that.
So that's why we're fishing that hole in that situation. My buddy decided to go fish the bottom hole instead, so I laughed at him. I said, all right, that's fine. I'll be up here. Okay? It was a sunny day and the water flowed here, so that's that oxygenated water, right? Right there. And that oxygenated water, the fish would be hiding there.
What'd you use?
What's that? It's a secret. No. That's taking a coon shrimp. That's what I used here. Okay. Again, I started shallow, took you a few casts to figure out where that fish was at. That water's a little fast. So sometimes the bottom won't be straight up and down. So I have to go a little bit deeper to get down where I wanted the fish, where I thought the fish was going to hold up. Okay. If I had my friend up here with me, I'd have to go deep and I'd apologize. All right, let's look at this spot. How early would you fish this spot? I need a new volunteer. Who wants to? There's no wrong answer. I'm going to tell you that right now. Mike. All right, so where you fish? High water.
Over here.
Okay, why would you choose there?
So, outside.
Yeah, the water's going down like this, right? It's flying. Okay, looks pretty soft, isn't it? It's kind of like that. Okay, this is looking at the whole picture. Remember what I said? Don't just look at the hole. When you pick the hole and fish, look at the whole picture. This is above the hole, right? You can see it's like a choke point, right? It's ripping right here. We're not going to do any travel. We're going to hang out and rest. This is below. You see below the hole? It is ripping. It's upswelling, okay? I don't from the bank, no, but you can from some of the spots. You can see my float is right here. Where my is at. You guys see it right there? You see it right there, it's right here, okay? So it's hard to see because the lighting, okay? I'll put it again. My float is just captured right here, and it's flowing, you can see it in a second.
Inside scene.
There it is, right there. So the fish was laying right where Mike said, in this area right here. It's where the float went down, okay? And I watched two guys come down, looked at the hole, and went up from right there, okay? Because again, to me, when I first started, this is like a sand hole, right? It's deep. It's like probably 15 feet deep in there. And we fished it about 90 feet and found our fish in that hole. Nice soft eddy. We knew the fish got up here, they'd sit in here and hold up before they could go. Okay, so the fish is probably right here. All right, this is the same hole, okay, but up here, on this occasion, it was boiling really hard. There was soft sea right here. Okay, you see that little spot right there? A lot of people would come down and look at this hole at this day when the water was much higher, okay? And I saw this little sea right here, and I knew I was going to find a fish in this little piece of weed out of it. You're going to see my rock go down. Okay?
Please charge the look at.
Right here. You can see it boiling right there. I missed it because I was paying attention. You guys see it go down real quick? And there it goes. I had to cut off the video because I lost the fish. This almost tells the fish, I'm 20 feet up from the hole. If I hook the fish, I gotta try to go down, traverse down, and I didn't quite make it all the way down until the fish came off. Okay? But you can see, the fish was just laying right here, the soft water here, right? This was all boiling back there, right? This water was super boiling right here. And I just, even though it was only like a little 10, 15 foot section of fish, I didn't want to skip it. I figured if there was a fish made up here, it would sit right here. And like I said again, I missed the bite. I didn't quite see it go down the first time, but I was looking at pretty flowers. Right? Again, don't overlook spots like this. A lot of people see this type of water. Alright, so look at this hole. I need another volunteer. How would you fish this hole here? Who wants to be my volunteer? Don't be shy. What's your name? Scott. He's going to tell us where we can fish this hole. Here. Alright, this thing right here. Why would you fish there? Perfect. What would you fish? Drift fishing. Excellent. I would drift fish there. How many of you guys have drift fished this hole right here? 12 fish, depending on the flow. Gotta show the whole picture. Here's the bob, right? Short point, that's what we want to fish here. Here's the low, right? Tail up. How many of you guys have fished this tail up?
It's connected
Or
to
wrong,
me.
right answer here.
Is it
That's
showing
telling
on
you,
battery?
fish the whole entire
Yeah.
section, right? In this particular
How do you-
day,
If you're trying to get
you
through it,
you're gonna know where they can sit right away.
Trying to
Okay?
get through it.
yeah, with that,
So this is just a
Tell-
quick video of
show
the flow.
30%. These right here, I charged the other one. It's charged.
Okay?
That has some of it. It's better if he talks into that, but I wasn't going to interrupt
Good
him.
job, man. You like,
Do you know what I mean?
who else am I the volunteers in this? Come up and see you. Yeah, right there. Here's the hole right there. In there. Okay, I used the float fishing. Drift fishing, I caught fish in this hole. Drift fishing is ball. Right in there. Okay? All right, take a look at this hole. Okay, this is above the hole. This is below. Okay, where would you fish here? Jeff, where would you fish here? Where would I fish? Yeah. What? This is the whole entire picture. You see the whole picture right here. Where would you fish in this picture?
Let's start right. Fish this line right here,
Yep.
or I fish on the back
On
line.
that side. Right?
Yeah.
What would you toss in this hole?
Oh, I probably go a jig.
Jig?
Uh-huh.
Excellent.
Probably go a jig or a worm.
Is Jeff a good fisherman or would you throw dynamite? All right, so here's the hole. Here's the bottom of the hole. Pretty low today. Bottom bit of the hole, I don't know where the bubble line is. Yeah, excellent.
That's bubble line. Fish that.
Yep, bubble line. My daughter likes to say bubble line, right? Or not bubble line sometimes. What does bubbles equal to? There's an entire picture of the flow here, okay? So again, there's no wrong answer to where to fish. And in this hole, there's already two fishermen that come through. They're very popular hole in the Wilson River. No secret. I already watched two guys come through here, and I came about an hour later after the fishing. Let the hole rest a little bit, right, before I come down and fish it. Give it about 10 minutes, 15 minutes rest. Yeah, I would probably. Yeah, just leave that bite down and miss it, okay? So, I'm gonna tell you, I always have a friend that missed the bite, I didn't miss the bite, okay? When you're float fishing, I always have this rule, I tell my friends that I do, they just can't do it. It's like when you go plug fishing out of a boat. A guy that you can sit in your hands. Who's the type of person when your rod goes off, you set the hook right away? Right? Rob, that guy. All right? It's the same concept sometimes when you're float fishing, in my opinion. Okay? I always wait at least 3 seconds before I set the hook. Because that first initial takedown is a test line. When you're trying to track a fish in that bubble line, you can see my float. You It goes down really quick. I didn't set it, I could have missed it. I waited. I always have this rule of waiting 3 seconds before I set the hook on float fishing. Okay, give them a chance. If you're offering them good bait, where you have like good scent, they're gonna hold on to it long. Okay. That fish was holding right in there. Okay.
Beautiful.
All right, here's another one. Reading water. This is above the hole. It's a split. The river comes down from right here and up here, and here's the bottom. Okay, where are you gonna fish in this one? Somebody yell out where you fish.
You're gonna anchor on the point and fish right out the sea.
Anchor on the point. Okay, I like that. There's a pop fish right there. Okay. How many of you guys like the tail out in this picture? Tail out's a great spot for fishing. This is low water. Okay. The sun's just coming up. You got a lot of open water here in this instance, right down here. Right? You did try here. I think a lot of times guys do fish up here, and they might have pushed the fish back. This is later in the afternoon, evening, when it's a little darker. So I think the pressure might have pushed the fish down to that tail out. Okay. So this is just looking at the hole. You can see how the river flows in. Great spot right there to fish. Right there. Yep, that was juicy right there. Isn't it, John? Ooh. You guys are excited, just look at this. All ready to go. It never gets old. I've watched this many times. So excuse the video. I didn't have my tripod these days. I was holding the rod in one hand and trying to videotape with the other, and didn't land the fish.
Please charge the look battery.
Oh,
You're gonna see me miss the bite of the other victorious. Right here, you see this other guy? There you go, right here. So he was probably in the middle of the hole, right? He was almost up here. Did you see it? It grabbed it up here in this broken water. The fish didn't really get it until it got to the end. What do you think happened? It just kept falling back. Yep, falling back until finally, like it was biting on, or it was felt like it was trapped, right? It couldn't go anymore. That's why plugs, right? Plugs is that reason when you plug fish, you're pushing the fish back to the tail where they can't bite anymore. And I think that's what happened to that fish. He just bit it. He wasn't sure about it, and finally committed when he got to the end of the hole.
Please charge the look battery.
All right, take a look at this one. This is one of my favorite videos here. Okay, this is to see the whole picture. You see up here, very oily. Down here, it's getting pretty low here, right? Fast water down here. Okay, how would you fish this spot? Anyone want to volunteer? How would you fish this? Right. Right around there, okay. Or this side, okay, I like that. I like that answer right there. Both sides. How many of you guys would cover the whole hole? Like I said, there's no wrong answer in this instance, right? You're going to have to read water quickly. You're going to know where the fish is going to be pretty quickly. So here's the water. You see it's oily on this side, pretty faster, clear down here, and you can oil over here as well. Okay.
Ours.
So you guys can fish here.
going down right there. Yep. You can see.
Fish right there. 14, 15 pound wild fish. Yeah. Giant fish. I meet a lot of my buddies like this. We get a little excited, but yes, right in here. Okay. Fish is sitting right here, looking straight up here. We tried here first, and then we said there's got to be one back there. Fish is sitting from someone right there in that soft water. You can see the water very boiling here. Okay, again, a lot of people skip this one because they think it's a salmon bowl. It's very deep. Yes,
In a
ma'am.
situation like this where you have two spots and one's closer to you, would you always choose doing the closer one first?
I like fishing. To me, I like going outside in. Yeah. I don't think there's a wrong or right answer. How many of you guys do the opposite, inside out? I think you can do it both ways, right? To me, it's more important that you're not fishing deep to start out, where you might scare a fish off where they see. I like going outside in. It just depends on the hole you're fishing.
Why go outside in?
I don't know, I think this is.
You're gonna drive your deer back home.
That's true, right? I like that. Did you hear what he said there? He said if you go outside in, right, if you're not looking at anything, you're dragging your deer in to where, and you could potentially scare the fish away, right? That's another way to think about that. Okay, that's a great answer. Okay, so inside out might be better. Yeah, I go outside in. I think that's how we do it in my country. We go outside in. But no, there's no right or wrong answer there, okay? But that is a very legitimate reason right there. Work on the inside and go out. Okay, pass up, always pass upriver, right? And let it go all the way down. Okay.
So what's the shortest would you run the river?
What's that?
What's the shortest would you run the river?
It really depends on where I'm fishing. I know most of the 2 rivers that I fish on, how I like to go. My standard practice is 32 inches. And you guys go longer, clear. And we're talking about float fishing with a jig. I like 32, but if it's low and clear, I'm gonna shorten it up a little bit, right? Just a little bit. So I can fish tail out. Just a little bit. Some of you guys fish flow hard. Some of you guys do. I don't do calls. All right, look at this picture. This is what I call transition water. It's the water between bowls here, okay? So you got the river dumping in right here. It's moving. What is this type of water? Broken water, right? Not broken water. Okay, this is below the hole. Here's a quick video just of what the river looks like here. This is what I call transition water. A lot of you guys like to, how many of you guys would drift fish this type of water? I would drift fish this right here. This is pretty good speed right here too for our float fishing and tossing spoons. But like I said, there's no right or wrong answer. You're going to cover the whole spectrum. How many of you guys carry 3 rods when you go fishing? How many of you guys carry just 2 rods? Right? Do that, right? I do. Right? And more effective when you do it that way, right? So you're not going to switch gears. Back in the days when I first started, you just carried 1 drift rod. That's about it. So carry multiple rods because certain spots in the river are going to call for different types of methods so that you're covering it more effectively if you do that. All right, so I'm looking at this hole. It's moving pretty quick here, transition water. We're going to probably see it right here. You see this video. Wow, it's right there. Was. Moving down here, okay? That fish is sitting right on that seam right there. Okay, we had fished this pretty hard with these, but it was over here where that fish was sitting. We multiple fish on the side. There, okay? We didn't think they were going to be on that side. But the water was perfect speed right down the middle. We're running gates right through here. For some reason, this day, several fish were holding up right through here on this side here. You guys look at that fish here. All right, this is one of my favorite videos here. Okay, this is also transition water. This is the water between 2 big holes. Okay, so here's the water. Why am I fishing here? Broken water, right? That's what I'm seeing right here is broken water. Right there. Okay. That broken water. Okay, this is transition water. We watch fishermen walk by this, go up and fish the hole above us. We're like, all right, we'll just stay right here and fish this. Buddy and I looked at this and said, what do you think? I go, I think there might be a fish in here. Just look how broken it is, right? And below the hole, and I didn't get a picture of it, but below this hole was huge rapids. So if the fish just came up, they're going to rest right in here, right in this area right here. That's how the fish is. Okay. Like I said, we watched several fishermen walk right by us to go up to the good hole. We just stayed down here and decided to just fish this spot right. Okay, here's another good video. Choke point right here, right? This is looking above the hole. Choke point. Fish can't really get anywhere now at this level. This is below. Very clear, the sun's out right now. Okay. Here's a quick shot of the river. Okay, a lot of good water. You can see very low and clear in this day. And a little bit later, the sun goes down. What's that? Yeah, you can try that in rough water. You can see this is very fast. This is the way the activity is right there. So you see we're moving the bar, right? So there's that movement, right? Where the float's actually moving. Just moving down. So look how hard to bend the line here. Is where we're standing. Where anticipation's done. That's the water doing it. And we're so far away from that spot. My buddy's trying to mend the line for the ball. But well, if you mend the line along the rod, we can have longer rods. You ever went there? I can tell out. Jeff, how much time do we have? 5, okay. It really depends on the hole. How many of you guys, he asked a great question, how far up should we be casting and how far should we let it go for you to pull up, right? I say that really depends on where you're standing and how much bank space you have. A lot of my buddies like to stand at the top and fish the whole time, let it run all the way down, but I always tell them, if your float's way down there, it's really hard to set that hook and get that slack rolled up in time, right? So if you try to do that and you miss a fish, then you lost your chance of hooking it if you would have walked down. So you start at the top and work your way down between. Got a lot of fishing to do. So I usually say a good 30 feet, 40 feet from you, kind of work your way down.
Between 2 posts?
Yeah, 2 posts. Right there would be good. It just depends on the hole. You don't want to let it go too far down. You miss a bite. Yes, sir.
Depends on how many people are fishing.
Yep. I was going to say it depends, right? Are you going to let it float all the way down to court? Somebody will hook you? Probably not, right? But there's always a tendency when you're out fishing, right? You always let the guy down before you fish. And it really depends. You get a feel from the people you're fishing with. Some people don't like it if you're here, it goes below them. It depends where some of those popular. You gotta learn how to fish together. And down with the guy class. What's that? Yeah, it's called etiquette, right? Yeah, exactly. Okay. We got about 5 minutes. All right, so I'm gonna go. You said 5 minutes, Jeff? All right, I'm gonna break it out. Okay. This was a picture of my daughter, like I said, to take the kids out fishing. This was during COVID, the first year COVID hit. And we had to do online schooling, and I just hated it. She was on looking at a screen all the time. And one day I said, after 2 weeks, I said, let's get out of the house and just be on the river. And her teacher called us the second trip we went out because I had her camera on while she was on the boat, and we were Columbia fishing. And they told us that we couldn't take her out fishing while she was in class because of all the distraction. Okay, so we left the camera on and took her out fishing, and she was a trooper this day. Where she threw the rod down, she was tired. She didn't say a word to me, she just dropped the rod down. But actually, I grabbed her over in the water. We took 5 fish that day, we didn't land any of them, but I let her fight almost every single one. She actually got to try to set hook on 2 of the bites in that instance, but she had a lot of fun. Like I said, get them hooked for life, get kids. I know you guys here do a great thing, you take kids out fishing, and I think that's very important. I always tell kids on my school bus, get outside and play. Because on the school bus, I get to see 60, 70 kids every day. And I will tell you, half of them are always staring down at this bikes. So take your grandkids, take your neighbors' kids out fishing whenever you can. So just a couple things like I said, get out fishing. I want to thank you for Steelheaders Association. Hopefully you guys learned something today by being here. I appreciate you guys taking the time to come out here today. Jeff over at Fernandez over at the North at the Falls Valley, he's, you know, he's doing all the great stuff you guys do. And when you asked me to come out 2 years ago, I had a So, anyways, thank you very much, you guys. Support local businesses. Like I said, I'm not a guy, I don't have sponsors. I just do this for fun. I love to share my passion. When I first came to America, we didn't have a lot. My first actually real fishing experience was shad fishing. And I think that's a great way to get the kids into shad fishing. It was non-stop fishing, right? It was just, I didn't eat my lunch that day, so that really got me close to fishing. And little did my wife know that 25 years later, I'm spending thousands of dollars on fishing gear, and I don't even eat fish for the funny part, right? So get out there, enjoy the outdoors, and share your passion with people is what I always like to say. You can find me on social media. I love to share my information with people. People ask me all the time, like I said, I like to go fishing into my routes, and that's what made me become a better steelhead. I didn't become a better steelhead fisherman overnight. It took a lot of practice. When I first started, I kept a log. I know a lot of kids don't do that. Everyone goes to the internet now to get information. But I know a lot of us, how many of you guys kept logs when you were younger? I did. It was great, invaluable information. Keep logs, especially of river levels, right? When we caught fish, what was the river doing? What level was that? That information is so invaluable down the road. Keep that information, okay? You can find me. I'm still learning Instagram. I know I look down when I'm 50, but I still don't know how to use Instagram. Facebook is kind of my thing still, but keep all that my information. Ask me questions. I'm not afraid to share. I have no secret spots, no secret holes. My friends always ask me where I fish. I don't have a secret spot. And when they look at what I fish for, they always laugh. I don't need expensive gear. I tell them nothing matters above the water, right? It's how you present it below the water, right? I have guys who fish $400 rod, who fish a $60 rod that I got Black Friday set, right? I look for cheapest. So it's presentation, what you present down below, and learning how to read water is how you're going to become a better swimmer. And time on the water is invaluable. Right? You can sit in classes all the time, but you're going to learn more when you're out on the water. Taking them to know what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. All right? All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you.